Karen Holton TV presents the Quantum Guide Show, featuring ordinary people sharing their extraordinary gifts within our social reality. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. In this episode, I'm very pleased to bring on another brand new guest to the show, Michael Vastin. And for those of you who are not yet familiar with Michael Vastin, let me tell you a little bit about him. Michael is a controlled remote viewer, intuitive, and media creator, both photography and videography. He is a psychic contactee. Oops, sorry, I have to move my notes. He is also a psychic contactee and lifelong experiencer of spiritual and ET phenomena. And Michael focuses on helping individuals realize their highest potential and awaken to their own intuitive abilities. He proudly collaborates with findmegroup.org, using remote viewing to help locate missing persons and bring long-sought answers and solace to grieving families. This is going to be an awesome show. All of the links are featured below in the description. Join me in the live chat to share your questions and your comments. And I want to thank you in advance for liking, commenting, subscribing, and please do share my content with your friends. And I'm happy to announce YouTube channel memberships are now available, so you can receive my perks and help to support my channel. Well, without further ado, let's bring on Michael. Michael, welcome to Quantum Guide Show. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I've heard so many good things about you. I'm just going to go and my moderator, Denise, has very kindly put some links in the live chat for everybody. But the links are also below in the description for those of you that are watching on the replay. And I want to thank Denise again for being just such an amazing moderator and holding it all together for me, show after show after show. So let's see. Heidi, we've got Heidi from Boulder, Colorado is in the house. Nice to see you. And I guess that's about it for now, but people will be coming in as we're conversing. So, Michael, this is my first time meeting you. It's a real pleasure. As I mentioned, I've heard good things about you. I thought maybe we could start off with a little bit about um, how you got started in all of this. And our mutual friend Phil Warder also said, make sure you ask him about his childhood experience because it's super interesting. So if you don't mind, please include that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Um, I had quite a few psychic experiences as a kid, but I also had other like physical weird experiences. And um, yeah, I guess we know some of the same people. You said Tyler and Phil, and I've been on his show twice now,
Mm-hmm.
and really good people. And but yeah, how I got into all this stuff. It is a pretty long story, but I'll try to shorten it up a bit. So, um, as I said, I did have some childhood experiences where I would see shadows in the hallway or see things in my closet. There's a few times where I saw floating lights outside of my window and um, yeah, things in the hallway where I would go, you'd have to go all the way down the hallway to go to the bathroom. There's a set of stairs there, and there's bars for the handrail. And
Mm-hmm.
quite a few times I saw eyes looking at me as I came around the corner. They're the big eyes from the ETs. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm trying to think of what one I talked to him about. Probably one of the ones from the closet. That one was a bit traumatic, but it was oh God, it was a uh, it had like reptile eyes, and
Mhm.
it was looking at me from inside of the closet. And it happened more than once, but the one time it started coming towards me, it I either lost consciousness or blacked out. I'm not sure, but it started coming at me very, very slowly, and I don't know how much time elapsed, but that was one of the big ones when I was like 7, and that always stuck in my head. And yeah, I don't talk about that one very much, but that's one of the first memories of something like that. And as I said, I had some spirit stuff happen and in the house, and I would go to bed at night, and parents called it night terrors, and
Mhm.
I had lots of those for sure, but there's other things mixed in there, and that was the only way to rationalize it. I'd go running into my parents' bedroom and terrify them in the middle of the night. But um, yeah, there's some trauma with some of that stuff, but nowadays it's all seems to all be good, and come to grips with it and feel good about it now. Um,
Mhm.
seem to
Mhm.
respect my space and everything now. So
I think it's interesting that you said that you saw the reptilian eyes within your closet. I have heard so many accounts where people have opened their closet or there's been in their closet a reptilian. Some people have even speculated that closets are some kind of portals. It's almost universal
mhm.
that we want to have our closet doors shut at night. I don't want to have mine open. And when I was a child, I was keenly aware that there were other beings that my family wasn't acknowledging or seeing or knowing about. I was absolutely terrified because um, I had nobody to talk to about it that could help me to feel better about it. It was always that I had an overactive imagination. That's what I was always told. So, it makes it really, really difficult. So then as time went by, obviously you realized you had some paranormal gifts as well. How did that start for you?
I mean, I would always feel the emotions of people around me and just get knowings as a kid,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but it never matched up with what people did. So I thought it was my imagination at first, and then later on, I realized that it was the true information, and people just weren't being true to themselves or true to the outside world. And um, yeah, I kind of pushed it away through my teens, and in my early 20s, I started to trust it a little bit more, but um, I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be normal. I really did push it down for a long time,
Yeah.
and um, I just wasn't comfortable enough talking to the people that I was hanging around about that stuff. They just weren't, anytime I mentioned things, some of my friends would, some would make fun, or, there's a wide range of things that would happen. So I'd learned not to talk about it and kind of pushed it away. But in my uh, mid 20s is when it really started to come online even more. And, um, but when I was 19 years old, I was doing drywall at the same time as going to college. And I remember being alone in the house or on the top floor alone doing small piece drywall stuff. And I could hear the guys working downstairs. And I remember hearing like my first telepathic voice in my first like my adulthood. And it said that I was going to be working as an intuitive or as a psychic. And I laughed at it because that was like the last thing I ever saw myself doing at that age. And it wasn't until I was almost 30 when I started to work as an intuitive. And I did a lot of practicing of remote viewing, control remote viewing, and tried various other kinds of remote viewing. But it helped me to organize my psychic abilities and understand them a lot better, and being able to talk to certain people about that online helped me to really have my psychic stuff come online a lot more. And
Mhm.
um, yeah, that was a blessing, learning remote viewing. It made all the stuff I lived through my life make sense finally. And
Mhm.
yeah, and I kind of just fell into in working as an intuitive. Um, yeah, just kind of happened. um, I was with a dowsing group when I was like 26, 27, and as I was doing that, I had already been remote viewing for a little while, but people in the group started asking me questions, and then they started offering me money to do
Oh.
work for them.
Mhm.
And that's how it started. And I haven't I haven't actually like tried to promote myself at all, because it's all just been word of mouth. So
Mhm. Mhm.
people pass my phone numbers around, and whoever gets it. And yeah, that's how it
Mhm.
started, really. Yeah.
Mhm. Um, how I had my very first remote viewing experience, I was still a child, quite young, probably around 5 years old, and I had two brothers at the time. And my older brother locked me in a closet, and I wasn't scared from being locked in the closet. I just wanted to play with them, and it was kind of like you're a girl and you're icky and you can't play with, silly stuff that kids do, right? I'm inside the closet, and all I did was express the desire. I wanted to see what they were doing, and boom, I could see what they were doing. And so I told them when he let me out of the closet, I said, I could see what you guys were doing. It was awesome. And of course, they all said, oh, that's ridiculous. That can't possibly happen. But it actually did. And
Hmm.
I also, like you, learned to stop talking about it. I tried talking to my family about it. And then, oh, my mother, she was worried. This is back in the 50s, right? My mom was going, oh my God, what are the neighbors going to think? They're going to think the whole family's crazy. Don't talk like that. They're all going to think you're crazy. And I started going to different churches, whatever was in the neighborhood on Sunday morning, because I thought maybe the pastor or the priest or whatever would have some answers. And then I was told, oh, you're dealing with the devil, you're making room for the devil. So here I was as a child having my choice between being crazy or being evil. And I was neither. Oh my God, that was, and so I shut it down for a long time.
Yeah.
I did everything I could to shut it down because I wanted to be normal. So I totally, totally hear you on that accord. Um, Denise wants to know if the remote viewing came naturally to you. Do you want to tell us how you discovered that you were indeed a remote viewer?
Um, well, it was happening naturally for me, um, where if I lost something, I would just kind of feel into it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd be able to see where it was and feel where it
Mm-hmm.
was.
Mm-hmm.
And um, yeah, I mean, a lot of time it happened before bed, or when I would wake up before my alarm, and you'd sit there in bed with your eyes closed,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd see things. And I don't know if I was being shown things or if I was actively seeking them out, but both happened. But uh, yeah, I took very uh, it took me a little while to um, like get practicing with it, and I've been doing it for over right around 15 years. I think in September it'll be 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like practicing it, where I put a lot of effort into it, and I was doing 2 or 3 viewings a week, where you have the piece of paper and you go through all the controlled remote viewing protocols. And by sticking to the protocols of that kind of remote viewing, it
Mm-hmm.
it really helps to organize your senses your claircognizance, your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your
Mhm.
clairsentience, which is like they're all little different things, but yeah, you can psychically smell things and taste, and
Yeah.
some of them come to visceral. Just last week, um, like it's my RV is still advancing where I was looking at a missing person, and I had done maybe 5 or 6 pages written out, and I closed my eyes and just did some deep breathing, and it was like I was there in the spot where this person was, and right before what happened to him.
Mhm.
And he was really high up, and I actually got the queasy feeling in my stomach from being too high up, like that afraid of heights feeling, and I felt it
Mhm.
through my whole body, and it snapped me out of it. And so, like, it can be really visceral sometimes. Sometimes it's just a very small feeling, and a lot of intuitive stuff starts out very, very small and barely able to notice it and barely able to hear it
Mhm.
when you're practicing. And as you do it more and more, it gets louder and louder. And yeah, um, I don't know. I still love
Wow.
doing it. It's still new. Um, Even though I've been doing it for a while, it's uh, things still happen that are new in it and
Mhm.
still makes it fun for me.
Mhm. Well, it certainly keeps life interesting. Denise wants to know, do you use coordinates? She's just learning how to do remote viewing.
Yeah. Um, you set a random number. You can use a random number generator or make it up. It's mostly about the conscious energy that you put into that number. So if
Mhm.
you're looking at, um, say, you're looking at the White House, or you want someone to look at the White House, the remote viewer, you want the remote viewer to be blind. So all you give them is the number.
Mhm.
And even when I do my missing person stuff, I look at the name. Sometimes they give you a picture within the group. I try to just look
Mhm.
at the name, and
Mhm.
I want to know nothing about it so that everything that comes in is pure and nothing
Mhm.
is fabricated from the mind. And um, they call it analytical overlay, which is your analytical mind coming in and um, kind of making your own castles when it's not
Mhm.
real psychic information. And that's really easy to do early on, is kind of run with it. But sometimes um, you have to run with it because it's part of training, learning what is psychic information, the signal line,
Mhm.
versus um, your mind, or you're picking up on something else. You're learning what is the signal line and what isn't. So it's
Mhm.
all part of the process, and just keep at it. No, even if you crash and burn a few times, I crashed and burned a lot of times in a lot of my sessions early on, and you just have to stick with it. Yeah. But
Oh,
yes, I do
good
use the
advice.
numbers. What was
Good
that?
advice. I said
Mm.
that's good advice. I find for myself, I don't put a label on myself simply because I have no idea what I am. I don't know what my label is. All I know is I have these spontaneous experiences. So I was at the gym one day and there was a woman who came in and she was distraught because her cat was gone for 2 days. And I said to her, "Oh, it's coming back. It'll be back in a couple of days." And she just thought it was crazy. And boom, the cat came back in a couple of days. But I find that if I get emotional, then it doesn't work at all. In fact, the opposite. Like, for instance, when I was looking for my passport, I couldn't find it. I got really stressed out. There's no way I could remote view where my passport was. But if it's something that I don't put any energy, any emotion into, it's just I want to find something, boom, I can do that. Or if somebody else wants to find something, boom, I can do it. So because I'm sloppy, I guess I don't have a better word for it, and probably because I don't practice enough, I have a hard time trusting what I'm experiencing is real because
I still do.
of
I
we
still
get
do.
gas. Do you? We get
Oh yeah.
gaslit. We get gaslit by the politicians. We get gaslit by the medical industry. We get gaslit by everything. And so
Mhm.
I find myself gaslighting myself, and it
Yeah.
really interferes with the process. Then the other part of it is, oh my God, what do I do if I'm successful? Well, I don't know what to do with it. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. But I just wondered if you want to speak to that, because I know a lot of people are working on remote viewing. And as part of my, not really a question, but I was wondering what your thoughts are. I believe everybody is born with the inborn technology to be able to have to do this stuff. This is
Yeah.
not just because you're more righteous or I'm not
Yeah.
any more righteous than anyone else. And if people just embrace it and give it a chance, and that could change the whole world. Anyway, I'll zip it and let you
So
carry on,
true.
Michael. What are your thoughts on all this?
No, it's very, very true. It's an innate ability. Um, Humans are the only ones on the planet that speak in a language, or at least languages that we understand. Dolphins, and they may have their own language that we don't understand. But it seems like all the other creatures on Earth are telepathic. They all
Mm,
innately act instinctively with one another. You watch a pack of dogs, they're not, they'll bark and stuff, but they use a lot of body language, but a lot of it is just innate knowing. And I think it's in all of us. We can all learn to remote view. Some people, it may take longer because um, we have socially been engineered as a
mhm,
race. And you just think about the education system. It's to me, it seems, well, like from my experience, like it's supposed to get it out of you, almost like they're trying to get rid of the intuitive part of yourselves.
mhm,
And kind of it still bothers me that that's still going on. And you look at social media and all that stuff, and it's all meant to confuse everybody. But we're all intuitive. We can all tune in. It's just learning to listen to
mhm,
our hearts, listen to our intuitive sense. And if anything, most of us are pretty good at I call it the yes nos. And when you get a good feeling about something, it kind of rises your energy. And we all know what it feels like when your stomach drops and something
mhm,
feels really wrong. That's a no.
mhm,
And you can
mhm,
train that to ask any question you want. So if the answer is yes, you feel a little bit better. If the answer is no, you can sink down. And that's where I would start for anybody who is into this stuff and wants to, you know, train themselves up, or even just the bare minimum, get the yes and no stuff.
mhm,
Dowsing is another way, learning to dowse with the dowsing rods or a pendulum.
mhm,
Uh, I started using a pendulum again after 10 years of not, and I've been using it for the missing people,
mhm,
helping to find missing people so I can get because they want GPS coordinates that match up with the pictures and stuff that you drew. And it's not easy to do that, but
mhm.
yeah, yeah, everyone
So,
can do it.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just everyone can do it.
Yeah, I would agree. I believe it's our birthright. And I wonder if you want to share a little bit about some of the work that you do helping to locate missing persons,
Sure.
because I think this is the new way that we're going to be finding people. It seems to be most effective. And goodness gracious, there's a lot of missing people. And
Yeah,
it's a
a lot.
staggering amount. How did you get started in finding missing people? And do you want to tell us a little bit about the work that you do?
Yeah, I'm currently working with the Find Me group. I think it's findmegroup.org.
Mhm,
Um, I believe so. And there's a guy who runs it. He's an ex DEA agent. Um, His name's Kelly Snyder. Really great guy. Uh, Talked to him. Went through you go through a testing phase at the start,
Mm-hmm.
and but getting started on that, I kind of just fell into it. Someone gave somebody a number, and at first I was trying to help certain families get information, but I was holding back a lot because when you feel like someone's passed away, or in some cases don't want to be found,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's really not a easy thing to discuss that with the family. So I said,
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it for families anymore. I'll either talk to the cops or lead investigators. And that's why I started doing it with the Find Me group a lot more now. And just because the emotional side of things that can really either throw me off, or you don't know how the people will react when you give them information. It can go really
Mm-hmm.
wrong really quick, or you can
Mm-hmm.
get blamed for it if
Mm-hmm.
there's all sorts of things that have happened. But um, the first semi-official one a was a police officer, and we just went over some of the missing people that he had in his area that were on they were his cases.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very skeptical at first, and he's kind of a jerk at first towards me, and very, very, like, overly skeptical, which is, he's a cop, so you can't really blame him. But after the first one that I did with him, he didn't have any questions after that. He just accepted the information. The first one, I described the scene that he had been at the day before or 2 days before, and he was using the name Brad or Bradley, and it's not his real name, and I still
Mm-hmm.
don't know his real name, but he was in the Thunder Bay area, and he turned out to be a really nice guy, even though he's a hard ass at first. But that was like the first official stuff that I got into, and um, yeah, and he introduced me to another guy about 2 months ago. Um, he used his real name, but I can't remember it right now, and I don't think I should say it anyways. But
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, we just went through case by case, and I think it was the third or fourth phone call. He just wanted little bits of information of the first thing that came through for one case at a time, and we went through, I don't know, a dozen on that one call, and um, the stuff that came through with that helped solve quite a few. And uh, yeah, I'm thankful for cops that put themselves out there, even though he was using a pseudonym or whatever. He's still trying to do the right thing and do whatever he can
Mm-hmm.
to find the people. Police are supposed to use everything at their disposal, and most of
Mm-hmm.
them aren't. If they were, they'd be using intuitives, you know, a lot more. But
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how it started a lot more. But that was more of the official basis. But I was doing a lot before that, just with random people here and there, and yeah, I fell into that too. It just kind of happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think it was probably meant to be. I have a question for you. I hear people talk about remote viewing, astral projection, out of body experiences, lucid dreaming, near death experiences. Do you think that they are different facets of the same phenomenon, or do you see them as being discretely different, but people are experiencing it a little different? And of course, we're all filtering through our perceptual arena, right? What's your take on that?
Um, I think they all access the same energy,
Mm-hmm.
but I've had a near death experience. I have out of body experiences. I lucid dream, I remote view, and they're all vastly different. But I think the
Mm-hmm.
underlying is very similar. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't, it's kind of hard to say. I don't know, but I have theories, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, an
Mm-hmm.
out of body is, well, a lot of time it's spontaneous. Um, a lot of people are trying to learn to go out of body, especially recently.
Yeah.
And that's very different than lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is you're just like kind of awake in your dream and you're still in that dream reality. But
Mm-hmm.
whereas in out of body, you can kind of reenact or interact, I should say, with the real world and the kind of spiritual world. So I don't know if that's just accessing a different reality or a different dimension or, um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I've had a lot of experiences like that. Most of my ET contact is through what I call contact dreams, where I'll be
Mm-hmm.
having a normal dream and they'll pop in, my normal dream fades away and they start interacting with me and a picnic table will appear and we'll sit down and have a conversation. Or sometimes they'll show me things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're all vastly different, but some of them can be very, very similar where it's hard to tell. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we can
Mm-hmm.
all access it in some sort of way, and um, it definitely upped. Uh, the amount was upped after my near-death experience when I was 28-ish, and even that experience was ridiculous. I saw the tunnel. I went to the light. Um, is very different than how I've heard other people talk about near-death experiences. I could
Mm-hmm.
see outlines of people and I just went past them. I didn't talk to them or anything. I just saw a light and went for it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was just kind of hovering a little bit in front of this light. I got an understanding that I was going back. I didn't want to go back, but all of a sudden I'm waking up and I was in and out of it at the hospital. And my family, my mom and dad were there. And I had a hard time listening to them because there was Native Americans that came in from the hallway dancing, wearing full like feathers and stuff, and I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't hear what my parents were saying. These guys started dancing through the room. I don't know if I might have asked them, "Are you seeing this?" And I, I might have asked that. I can't quite remember that part, but oh my God. Yeah. It sounds ridiculous though, like as I was coming out of that, and I still don't know how to make sense of that. But
Mm-hmm.
my when my Opa was in the hospital and they gave him morphine, he
Mm-hmm.
saw a native guy in the hallway and then in front of him. And yeah, I don't know what that's about, but yeah. Um,
That's interesting for sure.
it
Very
is weird.
interesting.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
very weird.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we don't have answers for a lot of the questions that our experiences bring up, and so please don't feel put on the spot. I just thought I would ask you, different things as it occurs to me. I want to hear more about your ET contact, but I want to take a very short, less than 2 minute pause for me to tell folks about my book, and then we'll come right back and jump right back into it. So, yeah, we'll be right back, folks. Don't go away. Learn about the stunning details of ET diversity and culture, along with their advanced ways of living spiritually, which is in no way like anything imagined here on Earth. Transdimensional, Meet the New Neighbors, introduces you to many different looking ET beings, the organic healing pods, the self-assembling interior of the big ship, my ET buddy and the orientation process, cultural events like concerts and the joining of ships, as well as off-world physical and non-physical loving practices. In my contact experience, I learned a great deal about ET origins, transdimensional travel, intergalactic planetary research, and the various options for resettlement. My goal is to introduce you to the look, culture, intention, and technology of beings which are different than humans, in order to reduce your fear and increase your familiarity so that you will remain more rational and grounded once the ET presence escalates beyond debate. Enjoy reading about my real-life adventures and notice the things we have in common. So you will see that we are essentially many family lines within one species. Paperback and Kindle versions of Transdimensional Meet the New Neighbors is now available on Amazon worldwide. To gift yourself or someone you love, pick up your copies today. And we're back. Awesome. I'm just going to check in with the live chat and let's have a look.
Your book looks
Phoenix. Hi.
cool. Your book
Oh,
looks cool.
thanks.
Those images are
Yeah,
pretty nice. We'll have to talk more about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my experience was actually transdimensional, which means, I know this is going to sound crazy. It all sounds crazy. I don't expect anyone to believe me. It's just so weird. Um, but it happened to me in 2014 during a 3-month period, and it always happened at night. So I'd go to bed, go to sleep. I'd be no longer here. I'd be there. And it lasted for 3 months. There's a time dilation. So I had adventures that lasted weeks, maybe even months. Wake up and I'm back at home in my little bed. It was very crazy making. It
Wow.
took me years to sort through it and to be able to write my book. But anyway, it helps me to at least be super open-minded when I have guests on my shows, because I yeah, who am I to judge? Who am I to know? If it's positive and it's helping humanity, let's go for it. Just want to read for the those that are listening on an audio podcast. Phoenix says, interesting this morning. Actually, I had a weird recall of an interaction that I thought maybe I had watched something or had a dream, but it was very real and had to do with ET and DNA and needing our help. That's very interesting, Phoenix. That's awesome. Yeah, it's I'll tell you, we're not raised with concepts or even language to talk about some of these amazing experiences. So, it can be very confusing for a long time until we get our bearings. But I just decided that, well, I was compelled actually to write the book and talk about the beings that I met. But enough about me. Michael, please. Do you want to share some more with us about your ET contact experiences?
Yeah, sure. Um, I had quite a few ones when I was a kid and younger. A couple UFO ones when I was younger, and there's one instance where I was in bed and um, the wall opened up, and I
Hmm.
could see the outlines of beings in the light. Um, that was one that I pushed way down. Um, but yeah, there's I have some really funny stories when I was a kid, but that's where it started, of
Hmm.
course. But recently, I've seen a few UFOs, and um, I don't know. I have so many stories of things happening. I don't even know where I would start. I used to host a lot of CE5
Hmm.
events near London, Ontario, and the first one we had, um, that was like an official one. I think it was either 25 or 30 people showed up, and everyone was in a circle in the group, and I walked away just to like kind of reset and clear my energy. And I was sitting on a rock, and right in front of me, um, maybe a mile away, 4 craft. I watched them materialize, and they were just like energy craft. One was a circle, one looked like a kite shape. The
Hmm.
other one was a triangle, and then the other one was like an oblong, oval type of shape. And I yelled and called everybody over. Everybody snapping photos and videos and stuff. And it lasted a few minutes, and then they just slowly faded away. and that was really weird. I was recording it on video, and um, I reached out to everybody that was there. Not a single person has a photo of it or a video of it. And there's over
Mm-hmm.
30 people there filming and stuff. So we don't know what happened with that, but that was really weird. But we had
Mm-hmm.
a helicopter show up, hover right above us, and then lower down and started blowing dirt and trees and everything all around us. And I think that was just government guys trying to get people to not do what we did, calling in UFO.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that happened a few times. I even had one whereas an old friend of mine, Jen, we had a black helicopter swoop down right at us and pull up right at the last moment, and that scared the living bejesus out of both of us. And it was really weird. Actually, I have that on camera somewhere too. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, um, but yeah, ET stuff. Obviously, the UFO phenomena is very closely tied to that, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know where to start with that. Um, where do you think I should start with some?
Um, I think you should start with um, talking about the ET phenomenon. So, in my experience, I experience them as being transdimensional, which means they can go in and back out of different dimensional realities. Now, you and I are both friends with Tyler Scott, and so we're coming to see this more as a frequency aligned phenomenon, not so much um, a dimensional. Dimension implies space, and frequency is definitely outside of time and space. So, a lot of people for a lot of years said, well, I don't think that ETs are real because it would take them so long to get, traveling at the speed of light to get from there to here and blah, 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 blah. Well, in my experience, what I learned from my ET contacts is that they have ways of well, they don't actually even travel. They want to go from point A to point B. Well, point A just becomes point B. That's
Mhm,
the only way I have for language for explaining it. Point
mhm,
A becomes point B. We're operating outside of time and space. And then, of course, the Monroe Institute has done all kinds of offered all kinds of information where we can understand how that is possible, and there's a lot of rabbit holes we could go down. So I guess basically, if you could describe maybe what some of the ETs that you've experienced look like, and or you could talk about the ships. So the ships can be like these plasma orbs in different shapes, but then there's also some that look like they're metallic. I personally think a lot of the metallic ones are from here. That are human constructed personally. And I
mhm,
also think there's all kinds of different kinds of beings that we're loosely grouping under the term of ET. So there's beings from the spiritual realms, there's beings that may have lived, coexisted with humans here on Earth for thousands of years. There are beings that I think do indeed travel, for lack of a better word, from someplace else that come here. Whereas
mhm.
what I've always wondered is who's doing the air traffic controlling on all this phenomenon? Like, are they all operating on different levels and different areas within frequency related space, or do they get in trouble with each other too? I don't know. It's bigger than what my
It's a good
brain can
question.
go. So I don't know if any of that helps narrow it down for you, but let's start with what they look like. And then do you also feel that they're transdimensional or not? Do you think that what's your take on it?
I think it's all in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Multidimensional, transdimensional. Um, yeah. The way they explained travel to me was if their ship is here, it has a
Mm-hmm.
frequency, and if they have the coordinates or what the frequency is way over here on Earth, they
Mhm.
can match the frequency over here. And all they do is
Mhm.
vibrate that ship to match here. And they just
Mhm.
whoop over there. That's how they
Mhm.
explained it to me. And um, I've seen the grays. I've seen ones that look kind of like human slash grays.
Mhm.
Um, the ones that I've seen the most are they look fairly human, but they have much bigger eyes and a little like I'd say 10%, 20% bigger head,
Mhm.
and most of them had big blue eyes, and the girls had pretty straggly hair or no hair. But
Mhm.
those are the ones that I've seen the most, not only in dreams but physically. There's a little girl that I saw quite a bit in when I lived in London, and I saw a little boy when I lived north of Godrich, and I saw them physically, like the boy handed me a skateboard and ran away,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
uh, I've been trying to wrap my mind around that, like where he came from, who he is, and all that stuff, and I don't really have any answers for it, but he didn't look human at all. But oh man, yeah, the little girl. There's a woman, that same Jen woman, when I lived in London. I was with her and Teresa in my backyard. And at first, I saw it first where little girl stuck her head out behind a planter that I built with tomato plants in it. She stuck
Mhm.
her head out, and then I told them they were looking, and I can't remember if it was both of them or one of them saw the little girl stick her head out, and it freaked us all out because big eyes. And I'd seen that girl before. She usually has blue eyes, but her eyes were black in this case. So I don't know
Mhm.
if she had sunglasses or her shield things on. Um, so yeah, we stood there for a little while, and we're like, "Do we go and check?" Like, because she didn't come back out. So I walked over there and looked for footprints. She was just gone. But
Mhm.
that same boy, I think it was the same boy and girl. I was in the woods north of London, and I saw them poking out from behind the tree. First, the guy did it, and then the girl did it from the same tree. And the person I was with came from the other direction, and we both met up at that tree. And you could see little footprints of scuffles in the, it's kind of like dry dirt. And one of the footprints looked like there were wooden shoes or something. They're like,
Mhm.
I don't know. It was really weird. But both of them were wearing white gowns.
Mhm.
Looked like wool or some kind of cotton or something, but they were pretty far away from that one. But I
Mhm.
don't know. I've seen
Mhm.
lots of weird stuff. The ones I've been describing are the ones that I've seen physically.
Mhm.
Um, uh, I see lots of them psychically, mostly in contact dreams, or they'll just start saying stuff to me, which
Mhm.
can be very confusing sometimes. But yeah, I've seen brown ones physically, but they were like partially in our dimension where they're partially see through.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I've had some interactions with some Sasquatch as well. Those were
Mhm.
really interesting and fun. They're funny beings. They have a sense of humor. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, the brown ones. I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. We were doing a sky watch, and um, I was with a friend, and we filmed. It was dozens of these orange ball craft, and they were going left and right across the sky, zigzagging.
Mhm.
And the first night, it lasted about 10 minutes. We came back 2 nights later, and they showed up in the same spot. And but the second night they did it for like 20, 25 minutes, and planes and helicopters were surrounding them. I actually have that on video somewhere. I've been meaning to put it on YouTube. But yeah, we saw a bunch of craft, and both of us got a weird feeling in our stomach, like there's a
Mm-hmm.
vibration shift and change. And
Mm-hmm.
we both saw an ET's arm in the corn come back and hide. And I kind of saw like from the shoulder down, she just saw the wrist area. And maybe a minute or two later, she had to go back over by her car because the vibration shift was so intense that
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I felt it too. It felt like you weighed more,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt like you're kind of being twisted up a little bit. Like the vibration was so strong. And when she went over back by the car, on the right hand side between a tree line and the corn, I saw a being from about the waist up stick it's funny. It's like they almost always stick their head out sideways and their part of their body out around corners. I've seen so many do that. It's weird. But yeah, that one was darker tan brown, kind of wrinkly, and dark eyes, kind of like the image behind you, but brown. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the the lips was just a straight slit, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like like a perfect line, side to side. Almost no nose, just kind of nostrils, but it was like the blink of an eye. I saw it very, very briefly, very quickly happened. Not to mention
Mm-hmm.
it was dark, but there's a we were there originally the 2 nights before because I wanted to film and photograph the comet that was going through the sky. And I got my photos and stuff, but we got a lot more that night, those nights. And
Wow. That's
yeah, that was an
exciting.
intense one.
That's very
Scared us.
exciting. I've been told that by my ET contacts that the big black eyes, it's actually like a contact lens they wear because their eyes are very sensitive to light, but it's even more than that. They don't wear them when they're with each other because it's kind of more intimate to be seen with their actual eye color. And their eye color is beautiful. It's quite can be very spectacular, often blue, but they're really, really big.
Hmm.
I don't blame ETs. I call them ETs. Okay, there's other names for them, transdimensional, whatever. But I don't blame them for being extremely cautious amongst humans. Look at some of the treatment that they get when they're captured. The military, American military calls them, keeps them as guests, says they're guests, but they're not. They're prisoners, and they do horrible things to them. I mean, they do horrible things to us when they do horrible things to ET, right? And
Hmm.
so I do not blame them. And I've also heard that when they are captured, for lack of a better word, they're terrified. They're absolutely terrified. So I don't blame them, for I could understand them buzzing us with, light orbs and light ships and things like that and, different things. But boy, you do not want to get caught by humans. Anyone out there who's been unlawfully detained by the constabulary will know exactly what I'm talking about. Humans are not basically, it always surprises me that we have contact at all because so many of us are absolutely barbaric. Now, I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm not speaking for you, me, friends that we know. There's a lot of beautiful people in the world, but they seem to be either controlled by church groups, no disrespect to religion, but I myself have just made that observation, or they're controlled by other things. And humans need to get their shit together and they need to do their shadow work individually and collectively. I think it's super important. And the world is just nuts right now. And I think it's to open our eyes. I've often asked my spiritual guides, why do these horrible things keep happening? This is ridiculous. Why can't we have justice here on earth? And they say it's the only way to wake some people up. They're going to need kind of like an angelic 2x4 to the back of the head for them to wake up, and
Yeah.
be open so that we can transform, as the human race. Sorry, I didn't mean to ramble on too much. We're actually about 5 minutes from the show ending, but I
Oh,
want to
wow.
give you a chance to address some of what I just said, if you'd like to, and also tell people about where they can find you and what you offer in the way any kind of services or helpfulness. And don't forget to tell them about Contacticon coming up in August too.
Sure. Why don't we start with Contacticon? I'll be one of the presenters, and um, yeah, I'm not 100% sure what I'll be talking about. It'll probably be something a little bit more organized, but I'm excited for that. A really good group of people, and
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I look forward to
Where's it
hearing
being
other
held
people
again?
too. Um, Somewhere in the Muskokas. We'll have to look that up. Um, I remember the place changed of where it's being held,
Yes.
so we'll have to figure that out. But there's a Facebook group for it right now, and you can look it up on there. But um, are you presenting at that too? Are you going to it?
No, I'm unable to attend, unfortunately. However, maybe next year. We'll
Hmm.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to meet you.
Thank
But
you. You too.
yeah, I do intuitive readings. You can reach out at thevastexperience at gmail.com. And um, yeah, I do all sorts of readings for different things. So it's always custom. But
Can you give
yeah,
us a few
a lot,
examples of what people might want help with?
yeah. Um, yeah, if it does vary. Um, a lot of my sessions and readings early on were very human, where
Mm-hmm.
about money, relationships, love, what to do in their life. That's where it started a lot of the time for people.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes much more beyond that. A lot of people are really waking up, and uh, some people just need a little bit of direction. And a lot of my readings just confirm what people already know instinctively or
Yes.
internally, just to let them know that they're on the right track. And if I don't know them and I'm saying the same thing their own intuition is saying, that's the
Mm-hmm.
confirmation they need to, get their stuff together and start moving in that direction. And so, but not a lot of people are able to fully grasp what they know internally, and they
Mm-hmm.
get mixed up with it's like the signals get crossed, and that happens with me with my own personal life. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to find ways to confirm it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what happens a lot of the time with my sessions. But where they say, oh,
That's
I've been feeling that, and but
yeah,
I'll talk to their
that's
guides, I'll
awesome.
talk to uh, loved ones who have passed. It can be anything really. Um, I have all sorts of very interesting clients, some really good clients, and really great people. And I look forward to doing more and more readings as the future comes. I love what I do.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Remember, we talked earlier about how we tend to gaslight ourselves.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to be able to check in with someone who is connected, on a psychic level and get the confirmation. We knew what we needed to do, but it's hard to have faith in yourself. We live in a world that is pretty phony. I think there's a construct within the construct, and the man-made construct that's been going on for at least 300 or 400 years. It's just been everything from the school system, like I mentioned earlier, the medical industry, the legal system. I don't call it a justice system; it's not, and I don't call it a health system because it's not. I call it a legal system, and
Yeah.
um, because it's just not what it says. So that's the other thing, is our words have even been weaponized um,
Absolutely.
keep us ignorant and to keep us dependent on these powers that be. But I'm actually really excited for the future, because I think that something new is happening. So many of us, so many. I mean, even before 2020, it was sometimes hard to find the information that's on every almost every channel all over, YouTube and Rumble and Odyssey. It's everywhere. You'd have to be kind of willfully ignorant not to be aware of some of this stuff. So I think it's very exciting. I think that we're all meeting each other, validating each other, forming community. I think we're in for something really awesome. So in closing, Michael, do you have any last minute things you want to share with humanity? Message of hope, or something your guides have shared with you, or anything, not to put you on the spot. Sorry if I am, because you don't have to. But
No, I'm here to be put on the spot.
if there's anything you want to share in closing with my audience, that would be great.
Sure. Yeah, just if anybody out there, and probably everybody out there, and especially if they're listening, if you have an intuitive sense that you're supposed to be doing something, or an intuitive sense that you're moving in a certain direction, follow it, follow your instincts, follow what the energy is trying to pull you towards. And the more you learn about where the energy is trying to lead you, the happier the outcome is, and the happier you'll feel about your life. It won't lead you astray. And try to stay out of ego, try to stay out of fear and aggravation energy. And if you get aggravated easily, learn ways to negate that and find a calming sense within yourself, so that you can really understand where your energy is trying to be led. That's probably, I don't know, that just flowed out of me. And I think that's something that people sometimes need to hear to push them in the right direction.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. I would agree 100%. Michael, it's been fantastic having you on the show. I hope you'll come back. And I wish you the very best at Contacticon in August. It's a very exciting time. And I just wish you all the very, very best that life has to offer you. I also want to thank the audience, those that are here in the live chat today. Thank you so much for making the time to spend with us today. Thank you for those that are watching on a replay, and of course, all the audio platforms as part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network. I'm available on all audio platforms as well. So it's been awesome spending time with all of you. Wishing you the very best week ever. And with that, we'll say bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.
Later.
Thank you for joining me for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Read about my true life ET contact in my book called Transdimensional: Meet the New Neighbors, which is now available in Amazon bookstores worldwide. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton, and also the Aliens and Angels podcast on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.